Good morning, students. Today we are going to start with chapter 5, part A, that is Fundamentals of Organizing. We are on to the second function of management. In the cycle of POSDC, planning we have completed. Next is organizing. In organizing, coming to the next slide, we find the basic concept of organizing, which had been defined by many experts. We take one as the process of identifying and grouping the work to be performed, defining and delegating responsibility and authority, and establishing relationship for the purpose of enabling people to work more efficiently. Now, coming to be a bit simpler in a layman's language, it is simply systematic arrangement of activities, and it is the activity in the form of function next to planning. Once you have gone for intellectual part of thinking in terms of planning, physically implementing part comes, that is organizing. In this slide, you will find that we'll be moving with two inherent concepts of organizing. First, organizing as a process. Organizing as a process where we are physically implementing it. We are physically implementing it. We'll be taking the process later on, immediately after this slide. And the second concept is organization chart. Organization chart is nothing but a diagrammatic representation or blueprint of the organization in terms of position and power being scattered or displayed in the organization. Next is why at all we take up this organizing activity, whether in the form of process or in the form of creating organization chart or structure. The first thing is, once we are organizing, we move towards specialization. We move towards specialization where we categorize who's to do what by listing of the activities. This gives automatically a role clarity to the people concerned as to if they are at a particular position, what are their responsibilities. And the moment we talk of responsibilities, it becomes important that we clarify the authority and the power which is to be given for getting the work done. Once in the form of process we take up, the purpose is one, we want to avoid duplication of work, and all the activities should be properly coordinated. That means interlinked in a sequence with a source of support and security which is being provided in an inherent manner. The ultimate impact is we want to adapt ourselves in a better way, promoting our human relationship, which is both within the department and interdepartment also. Now we'll take the first concept of organizing, that is process of organizing. While taking up this organizing as a process, we first try to list out all the activities which could be taken up for an organization. Once we have listed out and determined the activities, the second step comes. which is grouping of activities, which we also call as departmentation. Now, this department is created with the help of a logic which would create uniformity within itself. Uniformity within itself means a group should be homogeneous in nature. For example, if you could remember, in the initial chapters we had taken up soft toy making factory. Cutting work is one within itself. So we had created a cutting department. Stitching was one within itself. So we had created a stitching department. So whichever department you are creating, or if it is on the basis of function, you take up, for example, financial activity to be taken care of by finance department. Marketing, which includes all the marketing activities. So we group them. And the moment we create a department, then comes assigning duties to the concerned people in that department. We are assigning duty. Duties will be taken up only when the authority is given. So, here we are delegating authority. We are delegating authority in order to get the duties done. And finally, coordinating all the activities or establishing relationships in between all the departments. So this was the process where you would go for first listing of the activities or determining the activities, second grouping of the similar nature activities, then assigning duties or responsibilities, then giving power or authority in form of delegating authority to get the work done, and finally establishing relationship through coordination. Next will come the second aspect, which we said was a blueprint of position and power. What you could see on the slide, that the CEO, within him directors, managers, within the general managers, other employees, they come in a hierarchy. They come in a hierarchy. So this depiction of position and power is known as organization structure. Now, one thing is confirmed, that all the organization structures are pyramid in shape. All the organization structures are pyramid in shape. But the pyramid's shape can vary, which we'll be seeing in our next slide. That is type of organization structure. In figure A, you would see that the organization is tapering. It is tapering. That is more number of layers. More number of layers and narrow span of control. And in part B figure, you will find it is a flattering structure where wide span of control or the layers are less. Now, usually it is found in practical experience that the government organizations, they are flattering structure. The government organization, because we don't want to have too much layers, and the service rendering units, because their team spirit is required among all the experts. If we say education system is also service rendering unit, unless and until all the 5 teachers of different subjects, they coordinate properly, the result won't be up to mark, because the result is the cumulative of all the 5 subjects. So where it is service unit, unless and until we have that integrated concept of tape, and for that we need to flatten it down our structure. Next, coming to the tapering one, normally you find it in private sector that every one layer you increase by saying you are boss, he is your subordinate, with a minor difference either in the remuneration package or in the authority position. As an assistant person, as a main person, as a co-in charge, you put on various designations. So in private sector, the more we create layers, the more we move towards putting perfection. And second is in the manufacturing unit, because layer by layer we go for producing all the parts and then final assembling of the product. So we try to create more layers so that we can move towards output which is as per the quality norms. So a general version is found that the tapering structure is found in private sector and manufacturing unit, and flattering is found in government sector and in service unit. There is no rigidity on it, but usually it is found that way. Now, next is, I had been talking about span of control, span of control. What is the span of control or span of management? And why does it play this important role in deciding how your organization structure would be like? Span of control refers to the number of employees that you can handle efficiently and effectively within yourself, right? There are various factors which affect the span of control. First, ability of superior. Second, ability of subordinate. And third is the nature of work. Let us take a simple example of classroom. At times what happens, if we say teacher as the superior and students as the subordinate, and they are moving in a team spirit towards some activity which is taken up in most of the professional colleges, that apart from your routine activity of studying, you are involved in various commercial projects also. So first is the ability of the concerned teacher. Somebody might be comfortable with 100 students. Somebody might find difficulty with 40 students also. So the ability of the superior. Then is the ability of the subordinate. If I say students are subordinate, if they are self-motivated, well-cultured, it becomes easy to handle more number of subordinates. If they are well-trained, so the ability of the subordinate. And above all, the nature of work. At times, when it is a repetitive or routine type of activity, then more number of people can be taken care of in span of control. At times when a subject is of a subject where lecture sessions start to be taken, more number of students can be taken up. But where the subject is of this nature that it involves solving the problem, and the teacher needs to move from one desk to other to see where the child is stuck up, there you cannot take more students. So the nature of the work, if it is routine, you can increase the number, but if it is something typical, unique within itself, then less number of people. So this goes as the span of control while you are designing the job. Thank you very much. And a letter of advice, please. Don't tell me how talented you are. Tell me how hard you work, so that even we can work harder with you people and try to improve on the learning system.